Well, this season is upon us and the players are set for a new marathon of football. The coaches are talking tough and the fans are ready. Welcome to Plus Odds on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
And I'm Marufolu Kufeji.
I'm sure it's going to be a jolly ride today. We also have Kingsley Akpan in the studio. We'll be looking at the games today and, of course, guide your mind on the game selections before you stake that money. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Of course, the games have started. What are expectations for the new season?
Well, like I always say, the first week, you need to be very, very cautious because teams are just coming back. This season, World Cup, players just coming back, trying to get into the groove.
Yeah.
So let's just be cautious on staking all of our bets.
Well, Manchester United kicked off their game yesterday against Leicester City at Old Trafford, and Jose Mourinho seemed very proud of his boys and had special praise for Luke Shaw, who grabbed the second goal. Kingsley, what did you make of yesterday's game? Was it more interesting than what we had for last season's opener with Arsenal versus Leicester City?
Well, if you talk about last season, I think I had to see that game with a little bit of bias, because it was my team, Arsenal, against Leicester.
Okay.
Yeah. And I love the way it ended. The game had this grandstand finish where Arsenal had to, grab the late winner. So I enjoyed last season opener than what I saw yesterday. But for yesterday, I think we need to cut Jose Mourinho some slack. He said a whole lot. A lot of people said he was whining all through the preseason games that his other competitors have bought big players, they've signed big, they've not given him any ammunition to get things done this season. But having a midfield trio of Pereira, Fred, debutant, and Paul Pogba, who really did not train, and still getting all 3 points, I think kudos to Jose Mourinho, because I love what he did. You look at his back line. Shaw, Damian, and Lindelof are not starters. Eric Bailly is the only starter there, or was the only starter there. Now, and he still made sure that they kept the Foxes at bay all through 90 minutes. Jamie Vardy scored it in the 92nd or 93rd minute. Yes. Kudos to Jose. I think he just put that off, and I think it's a nice one for Manchester United.
Looking at Luke Shaw getting the second goal and Kelechi not performing up to par for Leicester City, what can you say about those two players?
For Luke Shaw, it's a good one. Remember last season, himself and the manager, they were going at each other. Jose Mourinho saying he doesn't give enough in training, and Luke Shaw saying you coming after coming back from that leg break, or horrific leg break, he needed time to get into the groove. I was happy that he got that goal. You could see the reaction of the manager, Jose Mourinho, happy that this guy, at long last, playing like a natural left footer, a left back. You look at United, they play that Damian or Ashley Young at left back, and it affects the flow of the game when you need your defender to whip in the ball first time. If it's a right footer, he has to cut it to his right leg. So for Luke Shaw, it's a good one. If he can maintain that, I think he can stake a claim to that left back for Manchester United. Now for Iheanacho, remember we were saying this off camera, that I think he has missed it some way, somehow, because he's not a .9. He's not a top striker. Iheanacho played his best brand of football, though, at the lower grade World Cup,
you mean?
Behind a striker. But he has been trying to fashion, or maybe managers that he has played under, they've been trying to fashion his game to play as a top striker, which I think is a problem for him. And you see that it also affects him in the national team. Whenever we play Kelechi Iheanacho as our main man, it affects the team. He doesn't perform. But play him off a bigger striker and let him feed off the excesses of that striker, then he would get you the goal. So for him, a bad one. Why? Because Vardy came on and scored. While Iheanacho played for
almost 85 minutes and couldn't get a goal.
Could not get
we just hope that it turns out good for Kelechi Iheanacho at Leicester City. Well, looking at today's fixtures, there will be an early kickoff between Newcastle United and Tottenham Hotspur by 12:30 p.m. And the other games will be from 3 p.m. Looking at the fixtures for Tottenham Hotspur, hoping to get an away victory in that one or a draw. But by 3 p.m., AFC Bournemouth will be at home to Cardiff City. Fulham takes on Crystal Palace. Huddersfield Town versus Chelsea. Watford will be at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Everton, and on Sunday, Liverpool will take on West Ham United, and Southampton takes on Burnley, and the cracker 4 p.m. Super Sunday clash between Arsenal and Manchester City. Well, the odds for Newcastle to defeat Tottenham Hotspur is actually 3.80, while the odds for Tottenham to get a win is 2.05. Who would you put your money on?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, the first game of the season, if it were to be, say, the 7th or 8th or 10th game, I would have said all out Spurs 2.05. I'll put all my stake on Spurs. Yes, because I feel that with Harry Kane firing on all cylinders, it would really give you all 3 points. But let's not forget.
Harry Kane does not score in August.
August.
And it's also the first game of the season, coming back from the World Cup where he led England to the semi-finals and even won the Golden Boot. It might not be even 80%. It might not be sharp enough. And Rafael Benitez understands the league and understands his players. I won't be shocked if this ends as a ball fest. Both teams cancel each other out. Let's just keep it safe. But I'm sure this would be under 2.5.
Wow.
Yes.
But to get a draw in this game will be about 3.40. But moving on to the next fixture, Bournemouth against Cardiff. For Bournemouth to get a victory, 1.86. And Cardiff to get a victory, 4.35. And the draw goes for 3.60.
For Eddie Howe, he understands his team very well, and he knows how to get the result against the smaller boys. Maybe if the bigger boys come calling, they might trash him or defeat him at home. But the smaller boys, Cardiff City, just coming into the league this season, I think Bournemouth can get all 3 points. But for you to be on a safer side, maybe a 1x.
A 1x or
win or
Bournemouth.
draw. Yes, win or draw.
All right, Huddersfield Town versus Chelsea. Well, all fingers will be pointing at Chelsea to get a victory, where they have 1.60, and Huddersfield to win at home, 6.20, and a draw will be for 3.85. Risky.
It's risky, but I could put my money on Huddersfield.
Wow.
Yes, to even pick a victory.
Why?
Yes, because I've seen Chelsea under Sarri. I don't think he has gotten a pattern for the team yet. Everything seems to be going through Jorginho, and Jorginho is just coming into this league afresh. He doesn't really understand the pace. If he had monitored what happened in the Community Shield, he found out that the City players were closing in on him, knowing fully well that Chelsea were trying to build the attack from him. Closing on him, you now see misplaced passes and will get the ball.
Yeah.
Now, for Huddersfield, the manager knows how to beat big teams when he sets his team up very well.
Yeah.
Remember, they defeated Manchester United last season. It was a shocker.
Sure.
Yeah, and they would want to start on a high. Let's make our fans, shout at the top of their voices. This is the first game of the season. And Chelsea, I don't know, in the last couple of seasons, they've not started well. Last season, they lost at home. Their first game to Burnley. I won't be shocked if Huddersfield pick up all 3 points, because there's Aaron Moy, there's Steve Munier, these boys are there. They can get one goal and lock up shop. Chelsea will struggle because Morata is not firing on all cylinders. Olivier Giroud, not really back from the World Cup. Eden Hazard, and all hopes now is on Hudson-Odoi, who's just 17. And the pressure will be much on the young man. So I feel Huddersfield would get at worst a draw from this one.
Wow. Let's see how that turns out for Huddersfield and Chelsea, but I'm sure if you want to put your money, stake wisely. That's what we always tell you right here on the show. Well, we'll be going on the break, and when we come back, we'll still be looking at more of the fixtures coming your way. Keep it locked down to Plus Odds on Plus TV Africa. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the show. It's still Plus Odds on Plus TV Africa. Joining us on the show is John Oyetunde, and we're still analyzing the games and making predictions on how the games will end today. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Been a while.
Yeah, you can say that again, but it's good to be back.
All right, well, season kicking off. I mean, everyone is excited, and I'm sure the Arsenal fans are looking forward to having a positive season. But quickly, for Arsenal, do you think that they can win the EPL title?
Well, I don't know. We should ask that to John.
Actually, just straight the gauntlet, but it's a difficult question, but at the same time, pretty easy. Arsenal cannot win the league this season. I can say that. I'm emphatic about it. They can't.
Wow, quite
We have
difficult.
to consider the fact that they're under a new regime. They've had the same person for 22 years. We've moved on to a new person. Are they capable of winning with Unai Emery in charge?
No, for the fact that it's a new regime, that alone is another factor on its own, because you know, they've had someone who's been there for 22 years, who knows in and out of the club. Like, he's an embodiment of the club. He's the club himself. So now they're bringing someone in who's supposed to master the philosophy of the club. I mean, who is going to probably give them some trophies, some minor trophies, maybe this season, not major anyway, some minor trophies. So it's going to be pretty difficult because, again, you have to look at some other factors, changing of backroom staffs,
yes,
you know, some other little things. So I believe that it's a bit difficult for them. Maybe in 2 or 3 seasons, Unai Emery can win the Premier League, but now it's a no for me.
And let's not forget their opponent for this week's feature on Sunday is Manchester City. Of course, last season they lost all 3 games against Manchester City. Manchester scored 9 goals and Arsenal scored 1. Unai Emery also doesn't have a good record against Pep Guardiola. Is it just the odds are not in Arsenal's favour?
Yes, they are not. You just ruled out the stats, and it's pretty easy for us to analyze, because knowing fully well that Manchester City are the current champions of England, and you know the manner at which, not just the current champions, the manner at which they won the league, fantastic, 100 points, they scored a lot of goals, and this alone, it's just tending towards the fact that they are playing an Arsenal team who at the moment they don't have a balanced team. They have a new coach, and the couple of signings they brought in are just probably average players who are a bit decent. Yeah.
Average players?
Yes, average players. I can see that again.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, so who are just a bit decent. So, and you can't compare it to a more... Man City is the only balanced team in England, I can tell you. Now, they added the Mahrez, who complement, you know, the talent of a squad that has won something big in England. So, at this point in time, I think if you're looking at it, it's going to be a pretty difficult game for Man City, I know, because of the record Arsenal have at home. You know.
Just quickly, can Manchester City retain the Premier League title?
Yes, of course.
They can.
I think so, because you know Pep is a serial winner. Okay. Wherever he has gone to, he's achieved success. Maybe some people might say that he has not won the Champions League in all those other clubs he went to, but yet again, he has done the league back-to-back, whichever club he has gone to. So he's in Manchester City. We know that England is difficult, because the last time a team did it back-to-back was 10 years ago. Yeah. So let's hope that this time City can do it. But I think they have the squad. They have, look at all the departments, from defense to the midfield to the strikers, Leroy Sané. See, I can begin to mention name on and on. The list is exhaustive.
Okay, well, let's see how that goes. But for Arsenal fans, they're quite optimistic. And for Manchester City, remember the odds for City to win this game, it's 1.90. And for Arsenal, 3.70. Like you always say, stake your money wisely. And of course, if you want to stake what you can afford to lose. It was a good show, Moronfolo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll come your way again on Plus Odds on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.